Hello and welcome to the podcast. Let's get to know celebrating diversity at MIT. I'm your host, Neel Bardhan, a postdoc in the lab of Professor Angela Belcher in the Koch Institute for Integrative Cancer Research at MIT. And this is the second episode. We are recording this on the second day of April in 2021. So before I introduce our guest for today, I'd like to make a few quick comments. For those of you who are listening to this podcast, we also have a dedicated YouTube channel celebrating diversity. The link will be down in the description. You can also watch our first episode of the podcast there, featuring Ms. Uyanga Sudev, who is a grad student and also a biotech entrepreneur in the Belcher lab. So feel free to watch this show on YouTube, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and leave a comment what you'd like to know from our guests in future episodes of this podcast. And for those of you who are watching us on the YouTube channel, let me assure you we are following all appropriate social distancing protocols. So this podcast series is made possible by grant funding through MIT's MindHandHeart Innovation Fund, so a big thank you to them. The goal of this podcast series is to invite KI community members from different cultural, national, religious, ethnic, or other racial backgrounds to share their personal experiences. And we hope to get to know others better and broaden our perspective to promote diversity and inclusion in our community. So with that, without any further delay, I'm especially thrilled and excited to welcome our guest for today, Kameron Santana, who is a custodian in the Koch Institute, working with the MIT Department of Facilities, and he's working on the 5th floor of the Koch Institute. Kameron, big welcome to you, and thank you for joining us on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me, Neel. I'm truly honored, especially since I just found out today will be our last day in the same building. You know, it just happened to work out.
Oh wow! I'm really glad we could have you here on the podcast and share your story with us and get to know you better before we hopefully we'll still see you around on MIT campus. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What is your background? Tell us your story.
Okay. Well, I was born here in Boston. My mom is African American. My dad is Puerto Rican, and a pretty diverse background. I grew up with a very close-knit family. I lived with a lot of my family members growing up, aunts, cousins, and everything. We usually lived in the same house or in the same community so that we can always, be next to each other, be with each other. That was like a big thing for us growing up. I'm literally like the only boy out of all my cousins, so I grew up with a lot of, women, which was pretty different. Not having that boy to be like, oh, let's go outside, play basketball. They were like playing with dolls and stuff, and I was like, oh, I guess I'll go play my video game now. So, but my dad actually was born in Puerto Rico. He lived there for the first few years of his life, and he came to the United States with my grandmother when he was about 4 to 5 years old. And he still lives here now. And my grandmother actually, she spent some time here, and now she wants to spend, she's older now, so she wants to spend her days in Puerto Rico on the island. So that's where she is currently.
Wow. So tell us a little bit more about your Puerto Rican background. It's one of the tropical places. It's on my bucket list. I certainly want to visit there. So do you still have family back there? You mentioned your grandma is spending her time there. Do you go visit her often?
Yeah, so not as often as I'd like to. And I definitely recommend you getting onto the island whenever you get a chance. I have a lot of family in Puerto Rico still. I have a good amount of cousins who are there. I have a couple of aunts. For the most part, a lot of my family is here in Boston, but we still have a good amount of extended family that's in Puerto Rico, which is also great for my grandmother because, my father is her only child, we're her only grandchildren, me and my older sister. So we're all here, so she's kind of bummed out that she can't see us as much as she'd like to. She has grandkids now and everything, so she really wants to spend that time with us. But, COVID has actually made that a lot tougher, and this is there's probably a lot of families that are going through this as well, who have loved ones in places that they can't really get to because of what's going on. But yeah, I've been to Puerto Rico. I've been to Puerto Rico a few times. Like I said, not as much as I'd like to. The last time I was actually there, my great-grandmother, God rest her soul, she lived a great life, 94 years old, nice long life, but I actually went for the funeral and the services in Puerto Rico. It's bittersweet. You're there for a funeral, so it's like you try to make the most out of your trip. But I got to see family members I hadn't seen since I was a child, so it was really good to see my cousins and see my aunts and uncles who I hadn't seen in years. Some family I didn't even remember. I was so young the last time I had been there, so it was basically like just meeting everyone all over again. I enjoyed my time there though. Just doing as much as I could for my grandmother while I was there. She's getting, like I said, she's getting older. She has a house, so the upkeep and everything, it gets tough on her. So it was just good to be back on the island, and the food. The food is amazing. Yeah, I can't say enough about the food. Every time I go, it's an experience with the food.
Yeah, it's I'm sure it's mouth-watering, and I'll keep that till a little bit later in the show, where we can share more about your food, and maybe we can learn a little bit from that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing your background and about your strong family ties down in Puerto Rico. Like as an immigrant myself, I think a lot of us can relate to, especially during this time, it's become extremely difficult. Well, travel is almost impossible, and we haven't seen our folks for almost 2 years now.
Exactly.
And it's we do the best we can over FaceTime, really looking forward to hopefully this summer when things start opening up again and we can visit our families.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm actually planning a trip for Puerto Rico. I'm hoping the end of this year, beginning of next year. I definitely want to go out and go see her, and
yeah, sounds like a fun experience.
Absolutely. Live the island life for a little bit.
Yeah, good luck, man. Good luck on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about the work you do. And the reason why I ask this is because as a custodian, a lot of us don't even get to meet you folks. And you guys work extremely hard. Like I know, Kameron, you work the night shift. Like you start at like 2 p.m. and all the way through midnight or even later sometimes.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, because our audience, they'd love to know about the work that you're doing here at MIT and how important of a work it is. And for us researchers, we're mostly daytime people. We don't get to see you folks. Tell us a little more about that.
Well, yeah, the work that we do here, we just try to maintain the building, make sure the building is, the facilities are as clean for everyone to use. And that's, everywhere from bathrooms to kitchens to making sure the lab floors are, sparkling clean, as
spotless, shiny, spotless.
Exactly.
Yes. We just had our, for the audience, I'm jumping in, sorry to interrupt. We just had our floor waxing a couple of weeks ago, and they're like shiny floors. It's such a refreshing feeling. So that's all thanks to people like you who are working hard each and every day.
Yes. So, we just, that's our main goal. And especially at a time like this with COVID, making sure we're disinfecting, those high touch areas as much as possible, doorknobs, light switches, elevator buttons, anything that is being touched very frequently. That's our job. Like, that's our main focus right now, which is, you just think every day you come in and do the same thing. You're like, all right, I got to grab the trash. I got to make sure the kitchen, vacuum here, vacuum there. But with COVID, it kind of threw us a curveball to a point where they had us working. Well, I'm not going to say we were forced to work any shifts, but we had opportunities to make overtime. And it was basically just coming in to disinfect the campus and make sure that everything was safe for all the employees who were still on campus at the time. And now that the students are back, we ramped that up to the point where we even have classroom cleanings, 2 to 3, 4 times a day, depending on how frequent those rooms are used. As soon as those students are out of there, we're in there trying to make sure that everything is safe for everyone. Because, at a time like this, it's tough. We've lost so many people the last couple of years, all different age groups, so this has been a tough time for everyone. But, we're just here trying to do our job and make sure that we make campus as safe and clean as possible. so that everyone gets to enjoy their opportunities here.
I'm so grateful, man, for people like you who are like literally responsible for keeping us safe, all so that even while we're working together in lab, we can at least feel somewhat better that all the surfaces have been taken care of, and really can't say thank you enough to people like you. I'm really grateful for all the extra work that you're putting on in addition to your normal day job. For the COVID-related protocols. A big thank you to people like you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
And then you mentioned one thing about like overtime, right? So maybe you could also touch upon what other work you do. I remember we talked about this a few months ago back in winter when you're also doing snow duty.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay.
tell us a little bit about that. How exciting, interesting is that?
Well, snow removal, okay. So that's a lot of, so in the custodial department, a lot of my coworkers, we usually take the route of picking up snowstorm, snow overtime, which is given to us, basically throughout the entire winter. We come on, and if the storm is bigger than what the grounds team here at MIT can handle, they'll call in supplemental help, and you sign up, and you get that overtime, and it's quite an experience. I've spent multiple days here on campus between my regular shift and working the snow overtime. So it's definitely quite an experience, spending some time away from your family, your loved ones. But at the end of the day, we all have bills we need to pay. The overtime definitely has helped me in the past with things I needed to get done, whether being at home or trying to pay for a vacation. It's definitely helped me in a lot of ways. And with snow removal, we basically just clear out all the pathways, all the emergency exits, all the doors that everyone's using, stairwells, just outdoor stairwells, I should say, or stairways. Just try to make sure everything's clear. Try to make sure everyone can get through campus without slipping and falling and causing some injuries. So, yeah, that's what the snow removal is all about.
That's an important part of the winter campus cleaning projects, I guess. In my mind, like being from a warm place, like I'm from India, so it's a fairly warm country. Like winter itself freaks me out. So imagining you guys like standing there all night, like doing snow duty. Wow, that's like sounds like a tough job to me. But it's like, is it kind of fun? I don't know. Maybe you can.
I definitely enjoy it. I'd say the thing I enjoy the most about working the snow removal is working with people that you don't get to work with every day. So the way it's done is that they have, so the grounds people have certain areas. So let's say there's a guy who has, this court behind us, Stata, MIT, 68. So he takes care of all the buildings right behind our building here. And they'll be like, okay, so 4 of you go with this guy and you'll be helping him for the night. So it's like there may be people who work the day shift, people who work the overnights, and people who work my shift, which is the second shift, which is 3 to 11, 6 to 2. There's a couple of shifts mixed into that. So it's just great to be able to see people you haven't seen in a while, or a lot of people jump from shift to shift in this department. So maybe someone that you were close to that you used to work with and you don't see that often. I really just like, catching up with people, having that time, because like I said, those nights are long sometimes. Yeah. So to be able to have someone there to talk to and bond with that's always a good part of it for me.
Yeah. So the teamwork makes it more manageable, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. It makes it a lot more appealing when you have someone like, you want to talk to and hang out with for the night. Also, I can't lie, I'm still a kid at heart. So sometimes, depending on what storm it is, you try to make like a little snowman when you get some downtime, or, hit a coworker with an occasional snowball.
Have some snowball fights.
Exactly. You got to have fun with it as well.
Yeah. I like your attitude with that. Yeah. So, and in terms of other work, like, do you have other side gigs, side hustles? Do you do? Or?
So, I was doing some Uber driving for a while. It wasn't for me. Right now, I'm in the works of actually, I think we brought it up at the beginning of the show. This will be my last night in custodial. I'm going on to work in the housing department to do dorm patrol, which is working a little bit closer with the students in a way, and also working a little bit closer with the MIT campus police. at some point down the line, I'd like to be there. I might maybe a MIT cop or something. So I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the future holds.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds exciting. So dorm patrol, I'm not super familiar with like how that works. Or
Okay.
could you maybe expand on that a
Oh,
bit?
absolutely. So, dorm patrol comes in. So during the day, there's a company that's hired from the outside that comes in, and they're at the front desk of every dorm, and they're checking the students in, making sure when we're able to have guests, making sure that the guests are allowed to be on campus.
Receiving packages,
Rec-
that kind
yeah,
of thing.
yeah, exactly. Receiving packages, all those types of things. And so I'll be on night watch, which is basically the graveyard shift. I'll be on from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. And I'll be at the front desk, and duties go from if there's a pipe that broke, I could be the one to pick up the water. If a student comes up to me and say, I'm not feeling well, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I need someone to talk to, I could be that person to help steer them in the right direction to make sure, you don't want any self-harm or anything like that happening. So there's a lot of big duties that come with the job for sure, and like I said, just trying to make sure that the students are safe on campus. I could take some stuff that I learned here and bring that with me, because especially with COVID, we were just trying to make sure everyone here is safe, but a different form of safety, I should say. So my main priority over there is safety, making sure that you keep the students in your best interest, and
So a bit of a learning curve for you there.
exactly.
Yeah. But I'm so happy for you, man. Congratulations on the
Thank
new
you.
job. Sounds really exciting, and that you'll get to actually work with the students a lot more closely.
Exactly.
I'm so happy. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Neel.
Yeah. So in terms of like work related, like at least speaking from my own experience, I have my good days at work and I have my bad days at work. So have you had any I don't know, bad days, so to speak? Or if you face challenges, like, do you have like a mentor who you can talk to?
Absolutely. We all have our bad days, whether it happens while you're at work or it's something that's bothering you from before and you have to come into work and, kind of try to pick yourself up and get yourself together to get through the shift. My dad actually, he's a supervisor in custodial. My dad was an employee, a custodial employee for about 10 to 12 years. He just decided to take the supervisor job, kind of sit back a little bit, and he's getting older now, so he doesn't want as much wear and tear on his body at this age. So he took the office job, and my dad is like, he's big in my life. He's big. I usually go to my dad for most of my issues, whether it's, something financial, whether I need relationship advice, because my dad's been there, done that, and we have a really strong bond. So I feel like that's like my number one mentor. And as much as he doesn't want to see me leave now, because he lives 45 minutes from me, so we don't see each other as much these days, especially with the tough schedule that we working evenings. He's a little bit sad that he won't be able to just pop in on me now and see how I'm doing and stuff. But definitely, my dad has to be number one as far as mentors. And, sometimes you come in here and you have a great attitude. You're ready to go. I come in. One of the first labs that I go into is Neel's lab. Me and Neel always have a few words to start the day off.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you see something that may bother you. You're just like, oh, how could someone make a mess this big and not even try to, do something for it? Or I just want... The one thing that I wanted coming into this building was to build relationships with you guys, so that if you need something or if I'm doing something wrong, you could come straight to me and be like, hey, Kameron, I need you to take care of this. This isn't the way that it was done before you got here. So I just want everyone to be open and be able to communicate anything with me. So some days it gets frustrating when like your supervisor is like, oh, I got an email from such and such, and they just, they wanted you to refill this, you didn't do this, and it's like, oh, that person walked right past me. Like, I wish they would have told me in person. So it's just like little things, but once you build those relationships, you talk to people, and you're just like, hey, you know what I mean? You don't need to send the email. You just need to come speak to me. whatever you need, I'll make sure I take care of it, you know?
That's one thing I'm absolutely going to miss about you, Kameron. Like the more personal connection and being able to like actually explain the issue to you directly. And for those who are listening, Kameron is absolutely prompt. Like if I tell him one little thing, I know for sure he's going to take care of it before the night is over. And so I'm going to miss you for that.
I'm gonna miss you too, man.
Yeah.
And that's literally, you know, that's top priority for us. We want to make sure that everyone in the building is getting that customer service that they deserve.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you know, you guys put in requests and stuff, and that's all customer service work. So we just want to make sure that everything runs smooth here, you know?
Yeah. So we've talked quite a bit about like the work life. So let's talk a little bit about what do you do outside of work? Like, do you have any hobbies or things you would like to share?
Oh, absolutely. So I'm a big gamer. I'll just put it that way.
So before anyone is wondering, Xbox or PlayStation?
Oh, PlayStation. I have a PlayStation 5. I'm PlayStation all the way, which was tough to get. I'm glad I got my hands on one.
Yeah, that's what those consoles are really like sold out everywhere.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's like it's such a process to get one of those consoles, and it's the resellers and the scalpers and the people who are trying to buy one for $400 and sell it for $1,000. Those people are messing it up for a lot of people who actually
genuinely want to play, right? Yeah.
Just love video games in general. So I'm a huge gamer. I spend a lot of time outside of here, especially with COVID. There isn't really much to do. I mean, now that it's getting warmer, we'll have more opportunity to spend outside, but
the winter months.
Exactly. The winter months, you know, being born and raised here in New England, there's a lot of months where you're just inside and it's either you're playing video games, watching movies, or, you know, you're trying to learn something and pick up something new. Recently as well, I've been more interested in doing some facilities maintenance courses, and I was even thinking about getting into plumbing. So I've had some of my focus on, you know, trying to get some entry-level knowledge on those types of different trades and things. And
so you can like get a plumber's license.
Exactly. So actually, with the next job that I just took, a lot of the classes that I want to take coming up are going to be from like the late evening, like 5 to 9 and stuff. And with this schedule that I'm working now, it didn't work out for me to take those classes and try to pick myself up to get to the next level. So that's another big reason why I took this job.
So you can do your classes late evening and then your shift starts at midnight.
Exactly, and
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I could do a lot of my school. I could do my schoolwork overnight. You know, studying for tests and things like that. So. Yeah, I have it all lined up. I had it all planned out. I'm just glad it's actually falling into place at this point. Yeah,
man, you're a hard worker, that's for sure.
Yes.
Like, I can't imagine working like the late night shift.
Yeah.
My body is not prepared for that.
I know.
But yeah, how do you cope with that? Like, suggestions?
Well, it's tough. It's tough on your body. I've honestly never worked a full overnight shift, so this is going to be a first for me. Everything that I've worked has been like a full afternoon or going into the night. Like the latest shift I've worked was 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. But even then, when you get out of work at 2 a.m., you go home and it's pitch black and it's like, okay, I can go to sleep and get a few hours of sleep, still wake up at a decent time in the morning and get stuff done before I have to go back in the next day. This is definitely going to be an adjustment for me. But, you know, one thing that's keeping me going, and this is, you know, a very personal part of my life. I haven't even shared this with you. I have a daughter. Mm-hmm. So she keeps me going. You know, a lot of what I'm doing right now is to make sure I give her the best life possible. And eventually, as she gets older and, you know, if she wants to play an instrument or she wants to be in theater or anything she wants to do in the future, I want to make sure that I'm there for everything. Mm-hmm. So right now I'm working the tough shifts where she'll be 3 years old this year. Mm-hmm. So she's not even in school right now. And for COVID reasons, we kept her out of school for another year. So it's going to be tough. I'm going to be working 12 to 8, and then, you know, my girlfriend's going to work. And
yeah. But I guess that gives you the flexibility to be there for her.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But it's going to be tough because I'm going to get out of work and go straight home to an energetic 3-year-olds who's just ready to go and get her day going. But
Yeah.
she keeps me going, you know.
Yeah.
When I wake up in the morning, and you know, sometimes I just sit there and I just stare at her, and I'm just like, you know, everything I do now,
Yeah,
it's
you're
bigger than
responsible
me.
for someone
Exactly.
more than yourself.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no problem.
that's,
Yeah. So that's very big for me. I want to make sure my daughter has everything, like I said, she needs in the future, and college fund, and you know, I just want to make sure I have her in line to be successful. That's my main thing. I want to give her the things I didn't have. I want to give her the knowledge that I have that I didn't have, you know, as a teenager, or if she's, you know, doesn't know what direction she wants to go in. I want to be able to tell her, you know, like, this isn't the only thing you could do. It's not just school.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your very personal story. And I'm sure your daughter has excellent parents to look up to and take motivation from.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So going back to our hobbies part, because
Yes.
this took on a serious turn.
I know.
Yeah. What genres do you play normally? Like first-person shooters? Or?
Yes. I'm out. So right now, the battle royale gaming scene is pretty big, and it's usually the games are like 100 plus people jump in, you know, go in and get your weapons and get your team together, get in a good position to win the game. I'm all about my Call of Duty these days.
Okay.
I'm a big Call of Duty player.
Yeah.
If there are any gamers watching, specifically, I like playing Warzone right now. Call of Duty Warzone it's actually a really big battle royale game.
PlayStation folks, Cameron,
Yes.
ready to take you on.
Yes. Oh yeah. Get your squad together. I'll get my squad together, and I'll be more than happy to meet you on the battlefield.
Some friendly MIT competition
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, right now, so I'm big into sports. I'm a very big sports fan. I played basketball my whole life. Unfortunately, I don't get to play much these days. Not even because of my work schedule, but I've had quite a few knee surgeries. And at this point, I realize it's not worth it injuring myself and possibly getting, you know, more surgeries and having more time out of work and things. It's just not worth it for me right now, where I'm at in my life and what I'm trying to do. So I've been collecting like sports cards, which it sounds like it's an easy thing to get into, but these days it's like such a big hobby that you can't even go to like your local store and just buy a box of cards like you used to be able to. Like, there are people who line up at Target before Target opens, and like some people stay there overnight and wait until the store opens up because they know what days they're getting their stocks and their shipments, I should say, and it's crazy. But it's fun, I should say. There's opportunity to make a lot of money in it, which is nice as well.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I got into it. I can't lie. One of my friends, he picked up a pack of cards, and he got it was kind of like a rare card from a quarterback who had a great year in the NFL last year, and it was his rookie season, and the card was signed, and my friend paid about $150 to $200 for the pack of cards he got, and that one card alone is worth $4,000.
Oh wow! I was gonna ask. So, like, how do you trade cards then, or like, how do you sell it on other platforms?
Yeah. So that's the goal. I honestly, I haven't had a chance to get something good enough to try and sell.
So you're still collecting.
Exactly. Yeah. But so you have to send it out to get graded, and depending on the grade, there's I couldn't tell you the name of the company, but the company grades, you know, the edges of the cards, if there's any dents or any cracks or cuts or anything, and if you have like a high grade on certain cards, you could get a lot of money for them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, depending on, you know, obviously who the player is. If it's a rare card, some come with signatures, some come with pieces
I'm sure autographs would be more valuable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they have pieces of jerseys that they wore in that game. Yeah, so it's a lot of factors that go into it. I'm still learning as I go on. I have a friend who's like really deep into it, and he got me into it. So that's one of my new hobbies I've picked up recently.
Awesome. Yeah. And then, so speaking about life outside the work environment, right? So, how does being at work, does that affect your ability to like socialize? Well, this is probably not the right time to be talking about socializing. How do you think working at MIT during these late hours, does that affect your ability to socialize?
Not so much. You'd actually be Well, when it comes to people here, I feel like I'm pretty open to everyone, and like you said, we all have very different backgrounds here at MIT. That's actually one thing I really love about this campus. It's very diverse. This is the most diversity I've been around at any job I've had, and it's great because you learn so much about people. You learn about what their childhood was like, if they were similar to your childhood and your upbringing. So I actually like getting to know a lot of people on campus, especially in this building. I feel like the night shift hasn't really. I feel like just my personality and who I am. My girlfriend says this to me all the time. She's like, I really wish I had your personality because you can. I'll be at the grocery store and a guy walks by with a nice Red Sox jersey or something. I'll compliment him on his jersey, and next thing you know, we're talking in the aisle for 5 minutes about how bad the Red Sox were last season. So it's like, I feel like I'm a pretty personal guy. I can
very
speak to
open
anyone.
to.
I'm very open. I don't mind speaking to new faces or getting to know people. I don't know. Yeah, that's the socializing thing it hasn't really affected me in any way.
Oh, good.
Working these shifts, no.
Yeah. So this brings me to one of my most looked forward to segments, the cultural diversity segment. So at this point, we invite our guests to share something from their background or culture, something that's unique to your background or culture. If you would please share with us.
So we spoke about food earlier, and I'm taking it back to the food. So
we all love food.
Oh, we all love food.
Yeah.
We all love food.
Yeah.
But this was one of my favorite dishes growing up. It's called pollo guisado, and that is basically chicken stew. So it would be a nice chicken stew. You have your peppers in there, your veggies. A lot of people put like potatoes. The potatoes boil in there, get nice and soft. The chicken, you pull it out, it could almost like fall. Well, it's supposed to basically fall off the bone, be very flavorful. And that was a favorite for me growing up. Traditional plate would be rice and beans, maybe some fried plantains on the side, and your pollo guisado. And that was a big meal for me. Actually, have a picture.
We can put the picture in the edited
okay,
video.
Perfect.
And so for all those who are watching and for all those who are listening, this is another encouragement for you to go see the video actually on YouTube. We
absolutely.
Can put the pictures of the chicken stew.
Yes,
there.
yes.
And
nice mouth-watering dish.
Yeah.
And and it's the food is one thing, the flavors are one thing, but I feel like those meals always brought the family together, which is another.
It's the memories
exactly.
with the food,
it's
right?
the memories you had with certain family members who may not be here today, or you haven't seen in so long. You just think back like, oh, we shared this over some pollo guisado. So that was definitely my favorite meal growing up from my grandmother. When she stayed here in Boston, I requested that quite often, and she spent a few years, basically most of my high school years she spent in Puerto Rico, and she'd come back occasionally, and it was just like, that was always my go-to. She's like, you aren't tired of this yet? I'm like, no, you've been gone for like 3 years. I haven't had this. Like, I need to stock up on it while I can.
Yeah. So do you make it yourself now?
Absolutely not. I'm not going to lie to you, Neel. I am not a great cook. I leave the cooking for my girlfriend because she is great at it. I told her I was going to try to get a little better in the kitchen, but I don't think she's having it. I think she's like, before I eat one of your meals and eat your burnt rice and your chicken that doesn't have flavor, I'll take on the cooking skills myself. So she's great in the kitchen. I don't do much cooking myself, but she's made the pollo guisado herself. She's actually really interested in cooking kind of like those meals that we grew up eating from our grandparents and stuff. So she actually watches a lot of YouTube videos on different recipes and different ways that, like, we'd say Dominicans make it from Puerto Ricans. So she likes making different styles of things, and that's how I stay nourished these days. Is my girlfriend. I don't know what I'd do without her, Neel.
It sounds like you have a great arrangement going
Oh,
on
absolutely.
there. Yeah. She takes care of the cooking part. For you.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing the food. I'm sure, like, if we look at the pictures and if you can share a little bit of the recipe there, we can like
Absolutely.
give it a try.
Absolutely.
And, should be delicious sound. Yeah. So, and speaking of the food and the memories, do you think like living here for all these years has made you adapt or change, or do you still long for the food and culture from like growing up?
So I still like my American meals, my steak and mashed potatoes and veggies,
Yeah.
But I guess the area of Boston I grew up in, there was a big Caribbean community. So I grew up still having, plenty of Puerto Rican food, plenty of Dominican food, Jamaican food. I grew up having a lot of options in the part of Boston that I live in, and it's a very diverse city.
Very diverse community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and I feel like a lot of people don't know that, because when I go places and they're like, oh, it seems like a pretty dry, like, kind of like everyone's, it's just like the State Street workers, like that's all of Boston, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone just going
the
in,
financial district, and
crunching
that's about it.
numbers, and,
Yeah.
go back home to the suburbs with their family, and it's just like, no, there's much more to the city than that, and a lot of people don't know how diverse and how cultural Boston actually is. And
So since you have grown up in this area, can you recommend a few good places?
Yeah, so actually a couple of blocks from here, and we're 500 Main Street, Building 76, there's a restaurant, Izzy's. And Izzy's is, I'd say it's about a 5 to 10 minute walk from this building here, 5 to 10 minutes from basically anywhere on campus. And it has very, very delicious Puerto Rican food.
Oh wow, definitely should check that one out.
Yes, and that's very close by. So a lot of places that I'm going to recommend, they're going to be pretty far because they're all on the opposite side of Boston. And my favorite might be, the place is called Alex Chimmy's, and a chimmy is a Dominican sandwich. So, but they serve the Dominican sandwich, and they also have your traditional rice and peas. They have fried chicken, couple different types of pork, baked chicken. So they have a lot of choices. You got your plantains, you have your empanadas. So there's a lot of things there, but just the flavors are just that place, and that's like I said, a Dominican restaurant, and that has to be like top 3 on my list for sure.
Yeah, definitely put that on my list.
Yes.
I'm not super familiar with that area of Boston, so
Yes.
we could do more exploring there.
I have one more, and this is in the South End, and this one has a special place in my heart because, so in the South End there's a community that's called Villa Victoria, and it's a very big Puerto Rican community. There's a lot of Puerto Rican people who live in that specific area, and it's to a point where they even have their own, because we used to have like a big Puerto Rican festival in Boston at Franklin Park. That kind of went away over the years, but in Villa Victoria, they have their own festival. Yeah, within that community, and it's great. Live music, dancing. You have kids from the area, performing arts. It's a beautiful thing to see, But this restaurant is like in the heart of that community, and that restaurant is called Vejigantes, and I mean I think that might be the best Puerto Rican food I've had.
That's authentic food.
Yes, in Boston. I believe that's the best Puerto Rican food in Boston, and highly recommend that.
Well, there you go, folks. Quite a few good options from Kameron here, checking out Puerto Rican food right here in Boston.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Kameron. That's wonderful. Thanks for sharing your life with us. And I guess any last closing thoughts? And it's also a sad day for us. You're moving to a different part of campus.
It's
but,
bittersweet.
Do you have any message for the folks here at the Koch Institute?
Well, I just want you guys to just keep Koch the way it is. It's a great place. like I said, there's so many people here who I've met on not just the 5th floor. In this building, we usually have to cover other floors as well. And I've met a lot of great people throughout this entire building. I just want everyone to keep being great. Even though it's tough times right now, we can't all get together and have, the big
Have the
meetings that
beer
you
and
guys
pizza.
have. Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
We're missing a lot right now,
Yeah.
but just try to stay the close-knit community that you guys are. It's been a great thing to work here. I've been here for 3, almost 4 years now. I've been in this building, and
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Time
And
flies.
exactly, time flies, and I've got to see so many faces, meet so many people, and it was just great to be here. Like I said, it's definitely going to be sad coming in and not seeing you guys every day, and having those conversations that we have every day when we see each other.
Yeah.
But I'll just miss everyone here at Koch, and I want to thank you guys for taking me in and making me feel like a part of the family.
Yeah, well, we loved you here, Kameron, and
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your life and your stories with us. And we wish you all the very best on this new exciting journey. Like you said, it's a bit of a learning curve for you as well, and get to know the students, make them happier on their
Exactly.
career path as well. And we wish you all the very best.
Thank you so
and
much.
thanks for making time today out of your busy schedule for sharing this with us.
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't have missed it, Neel. Believe me.
And with that, thank you all for watching. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a comment what you would like us to ask our future guests. With that, I'll catch you all in the next video.
Peace and love.
Bye.